Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eichenberry in real life, and this is
QMG saying, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
So, where are we at today?
We're in Maitland.
Winter Park, Florida.
Yeah, well, it's kind of on the edge of Winter Park. Like, you go one light over, it's Winter
You know, I
Park.
have a guy who owes me 6 chromed Hummer rims. That's here in Winter Park.
You?
Yes.
What do you mean he owes you?
The limousine I used to have, they actually delivered it to me, and it had just regular rims on it. They were supposed to be chromed, and they said they were going to ship them out to me when I was back in Portland.
Okay.
Now that I'm here, you want to be on my muscle?
I mean, I'm good with a knife.
On to the subject, though.
All right.
Let's talk about crowdfunding. And when I'm talking about crowdfunding specifically for video games, which happens a lot on Kickstarter and also Indiegogo. And out of those two, if you're not familiar with this, it's where you get pitched to on one of those sites, and they show you the game, they show you the whole premise of it and everything, and then you decide whether or not you want to commit some funds to the project.
Yeah.
And I've done I don't know 30 or so that I've done, and now I've had a lot of them not happen because I didn't get fully funded for one reason or another.
Yeah, some mistakes made, whatever it means, beforehand or after the fact that the Kickstarter went live.
Yeah, and so one of the things though is that I've noticed is, and this is the question I want to ask. Is crowdfunding good for games?
Okay.
And because I think that there's one very specific thing about this, which is that crowdfunding projects for games that don't show gameplay, where the game is way far off, don't tend to do as well as games that are giving you access right then and there. And if they have the game pretty much finished already, what do they need the crowdfunding for? And so you don't see a whole lot of those. So you see a whole lot of these that are just really basic gameplay and everything, and then the crowdfunding finishes, you get into the game, and you're like, oh my god, this is a piece of crap.
Well, I think it's like a double-edged sword, you know, like when the crowdsourcing starts, you know, people like developers that go into it at an early phase need it for the money, and that's how crowdsourcing started. That's how Kickstarter, you know, was like, okay, let's put together an idea where if the community likes it, they pay for it, they help create it. Great. Where it doesn't work so well is when you have a lot of companies that give broken promises, and I think
we've never heard of any of those before.
Yeah, right. But I mean, like, it's just as a whole, like, you go into it, you start giving these broken promises, and it's like you're getting beat. Like, you know, like as the consumer, as the customer, fool me once, you know, shame on me, fool me twice, or whatever the saying goes. People start to think that way, and I think we're at that point now in this type of market with crowdsourced funding, where people are like, I've been burned before, why should I try again? And I think it takes a negative effect on the people that actually need the crowdsource funding.
Right.
And because of that, you have a lot of games that are failing that should be successful because they have good content and they have good ideas and good, you know, good management.
So you mean like they don't get funded and isn't failing?
Exactly.
What about the ones that are getting made and where they give you all the Kickstarter backers or Indiegogo backers, you know, pre-alpha access, and when you get pre-alpha access, there's not really a game there yet.
No, it's not.
And that's the issue.
I think it's hurting these games.
Yes.
To be honest, I really think it's hurting the game. Like, for example, you guys, when you see a game in its earliest form, you guys don't really understand what goes on, you know, behind the scenes on how to get that game created. Like, you see Grand Theft Auto when it's polished.
Right. And it's like, wow, you know, they're like, it's coming out when it's done.
Exactly.
Like Diablo was what, the Diablo 3 was like 2 years late?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And it still sucked.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, you're seeing games polished, you're seeing them, and it's like you're taking your prom date out with makeup on, compared to, you know, going and picking her up 9 a.m. in the morning with her breath stinking and everything. Just,
I was thinking more like that she wasn't old enough yet. Not being sick like that, but as in the analogy of these pre-alpha games, they're like still 8 years old and you're trying to take them to the prom. and what you really want is when you go into the prom, you're senior, you're 17, 18 years old, and that's what you want, and that's what you expect.
And it's when I kind of think about that analogy for a second, it's like
I know that's such a bad analogy.
Well, not really that, but the MTV syndrome, where you meet a chick and because you've been watching MTV and music videos and everything, you expect your woman to be like that, like model, makeup, hair, everything. That's happening with games, because we've been spoiled so long with just polished games that come out from AAA studios, that once you start seeing, alpha releases, beta releases, people expect the same type of quality, and you're not going to get that early in development. And I think that's hurting a lot of people because they just don't understand what it takes to make a game, and so they go into it with these preconceived notions on how it's supposed to be. And then then they just hit up and then they play the game and it's, oh shit, this is not what I wanted. I'm gonna stop funding it, so I'm gonna cancel my Kickstarter or cancel my pledge. So on that note, what I think it's a good segue to what I want to ask you is, do you think Kickstarter should have a guideline, or at least the game company should have a guideline to say, okay, this is when we go live on Kickstarter?
I think there should be a guide to success.
Too early?
There should be. I mean, they should be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Because it's an open market. But best practices tell me that the game should not be going on Kickstarter until there is gameplay to show. And in fact, Kickstarter requires that now. They changed that to where you couldn't be pitching vaporware. That there had to actually be a model of gameplay. And so what happened was that some stuff started doing, they were using Unity engine with just store purchased assets to say, here's a walkthrough of what our game's going to look like. And Shroud of the Avatar did that, and they did okay. I mean, they got $2.5 million in funding, but a lot of other games have done that, and they've done okay. Some of them done okay, but others, it's like the problem is the game's not baked yet. It's not there yet, and I worry about getting gypped.
I think that's everybody's worry. You know what I'm saying? Money's not easy to come by nowadays for the general public or general populace or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, I'm investing. Technically, I'm an investor. Kickstarter, I'm saying, hey, here's my money. I have faith in you. I'm investing in you. And I think that people want to be shown why they should invest. And I think if you don't take the time to at least build your foundation for your game, then I mean, it's your fault why you failed, because you're out there trying to convince investors ultimately at the end of the day.
Right, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You're pitching investors on these sites. The investors happen to be you and me, 20, 30, 40, $100 at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Even if I'm eating my Doritos and drinking my Mountain Dew and playing World of Warcraft.
You eat Doritos and Mountain Dew?
I mean, not really. But it's an analogy. I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you waiting for an 8-year-old to go to prom?
No.
Okay.
Prom has come and gone for me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So.
But no. But I think at the end of the day, you're an investor. You looking at that project, you're an investor. So.
What do you think they're talking about? They were oblivious walking by. They don't even realize.
She's actually explaining why Diablo 3 sucked.
Yeah, and you know what? She's exactly right. She is.
On Kickstarter.
So the exceptions in Kickstarter are like Star Citizen, they got like 20 million in funding.
Yeah.
Shroud of the Avatar, which got like 2 million in funding.
Yeah.
There's been some others that have done really good too.
7 Days to Die.
7 Days to Die. Well, 7 Days to Die was quite interesting because they have shit gameplay right at the beginning, but they had gameplay.
But see, this is where it starts to get like a gray area. I mean,
They had a new concept.
they had a good concept, and they had the backing of YouTubers, and just
They got, who was that 1080p guy?
Frankie on PC.
Yeah, Frankie 1080p or whatever. Because they were in there last week and they hadn't met their funding, and then he did a video, and then all of a sudden they did 500,000.
And you also it's a number of things. Timing. Timing, how you market yourself, what do you have to show. Like me as a gamer, I honestly looked at 7 Days to Die gameplay and I thought it looked like shit.
Right.
And it did. I mean, even they knew it looked like shit. But did they care? No. They put out good gameplay to make up for how it looked. Yeah, I mean, you can dress up a turd however you want. It's still a turd, you know. And that's one of the things that, and that also goes into like a lot of people say, hey, this game looks bad, but you know what? The gameplay's there. People are gonna go play.
Yeah, Rimworld. Well, no, we just saw that one on Kickstarter, and I just backed it, and the gameplay looks very Nintendo 16-bit. Oh shit, we're being invaded. So, well, hello, ducks. Do you want to come up here and visit us? Look at all of them.
That's crazy.
So, they're oblivious to us. Absolutely. These are baby ducklings.
Affleck.
Yeah, okay. So back to the subject. One of the things about games in very early development is they look like crap.
Yeah.
Because one of the last things that's put on a game after the gameplay and the fun is put in is the graphics.
Yes.
And that's one of the problems with Kickstarter is that people are releasing this stuff on here before it has that, and everybody looks at it and says, oh my God, this game looks like crap.
Yep.
How can anybody do anything with this? And so what they need is the demonstration of the fun in order to get the sales.
Well, you also look at the attention span now of people, because of the YouTube. Exactly. But like, if people don't have, everybody has ADD nowadays. Like everybody does not, you can't keep them focused. Stop it. But that's what
I don't have ADD.
These gamers need to stop that. Not gamers. These companies need to understand that. I don't know what the hell I meant by that.
Yeah.
But they, so you're not going to keep somebody interested long unless you have more and more and more to show them.
Yeah.
And especially in your early stages, alpha, whatever. If you're just sitting there 3 weeks go by and you have no updated news on why I should back you, you're going to lose interest.
Okay, well, I think that the jury's still out, but I see a trend going toward the fact that that maybe the experience and what we're paying for our money is not as good overall through crowdfunding as it is buying a game off the shelf. Or is that? How do you feel about that statement?
Disagree with it.
Because you've bought a lot of crap off the shelf?
Well, I mean, I disagree with it because crowdsource funding is giving me the opportunity to choose what I want to put my money into without the company selling me a dream.
Well, I mean, one thing about crowdsourcing games is the fact that it is money put at what people want.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't get funded, maybe it's what people don't want.
Exactly.
And maybe that should be listened to. So.
And it's I mean, you also look at for Kickstarter. I mean, if I pledge $30, I have to the end of that pledge to take back my investment, my $30, or lower my investment or raise it. So it gives me some leeway to do what I want to do with my money on that game instead of just shelling out $60 right at GameStop or Target or whatever.
It also gives you a voice.
Exactly.
Because once you've paid money, you are one of the supporters of it, and typically with crowdsourcing, they're listening to a lot of people. But I mean, you're just one of many people, but instead of 10,000, 100,000 people trying to get their word in nobody else would know about it during development unless it was this way, and so nobody else would get a say. You get to say what's important.
That's another topic I think we could go over. I really do, because that's I can really get into detail about how I think too many hands in the cookie jar isn't good at all.
Yeah.
You
okay.
know.
We'll leave that for another video.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
anyway, okay, I think we'll let that one lie right there, and come back to that 6 months or a year from now and see what the market looks like, because it may have changed. So set your calendar.
Gotcha. What?
Yeah. Huh?
Huh?
I'm Marky Dragon. Take care.
Peace out, guys.